Hello and welcome back to Boring Dad Gaming, where today we're going to be playing some more Slay the Princess. So we've had a few endings, all very different, and we're going to keep playing. We're going to try and get lots of different things going. I think for this first one, what I'm tempted to do, we're back at chapter 1, the hero and the princess. I'm tempted to try and get the first ending I got again, because when we came back on the reset, that was when I sort of refused to do anything and ran away, and it ended a bit weird, and then when it reset again we ended up going down a totally different path. But I noticed that chapter was called The Prisoner, which isn't a chapter I've seen again, so I want to go back and try and get to that chapter. So we're gonna mostly do things the same way.
You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
But I'm not going to do all the millions of explore options because we've done that. So let's just carry on off to the cabin.
You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within.
So this should be the same as the opening chapter.
The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
Yeah, so as I said, we're going to retread our steps in the very first attempt.
It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here.
Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
Hey, I think I'm here to kill you.
Oh, are you now? Why don't you come down and let me take a look at you?
Great job. You gave away the element of surprise. Good luck, hero. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world?
Focus on the task at hand.
You weren't kidding when you said you were here to kill me.
I'm just going to say I'm just here to talk.
Then why did you bring a knife with you? How about you drop it, and then we can chat?
Yeah, so originally we dropped the
She makes a
knife.
compelling point. What if we just dropped the blade and talked? Look at her. It's not like she's a threat. Don't you dare. It's fine. We can decide what we want to do after we talk to her. Maybe she really is a monster. Killing someone in cold blood isn't very becoming of us.
Okay, we're going to drop it.
The blade tumbles out of your trembling hands and drops to the floor with an unceremonious clang.
Thank you. Maybe now we can just talk.
Against your better judgment, you step forward to speak with the princess face to face, unarmed.
We'll be fine.
I don't know what you're hoping to accomplish here, but I can assure you there's no reasoning with her. Just make sure you don't forget about the blade on the floor. You're going to need it.
So here we are. What an awkward start to a relationship.
It does seem to be exactly the same as the very first beginning, so... obviously we did all these originally. I'm not going to work through those, so let's just get through to the end.
Have you decided what to do with me?
You know why you're here.
Yeah, so originally we went with I'm getting you out of here, so let's do that.
Oh, you have to be kidding me. You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
I'm guessing you don't have the key.
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs. Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
So we did this one before. I'm going to check upstairs. Maybe the key's still lying around somewhere up there. And if not, maybe I can at least find you something to break you free.
I'll be here.
So yes.
You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock sliding into place. Is someone else here?
Try the
You
door.
try the door, but it's locked from the outside. You're here to slay the princess, and you won't leave until the task is done. You make your way back to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd simply slain her like you were supposed to. Easier for whom? Easier for everyone.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they? The knife. Pick it up and cut me out of here.
You won't like what happens if you do that.
Save the princess.
Against your better judgment, you place the blade against the princess's arm, just above the massive, unyielding chain. You cut into her flesh. The blade is sharp, and you make quick work of it. Before long, you're able to crack through bone, and she pulls the bleeding stub of her arm through the iron gauntlet. She didn't so much as utter a sound. Free from her bindings, the princess turns to face you, her fierce gaze meeting your eye. How is she so composed after losing an arm? It's like she isn't even bothered by it.
Thank you. Now let's get out of here.
No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are too high. You can't just let her escape into the world. No, I just can't let her escape into the world. As the princess approaches the bottom stair, your body steps forward and raises the blade. Wait, this isn't fair. You can't just do that. Watch me.
Alright, we're gonna... I can't make the same option. It's grayed out and I can't click it. Ah. That's a slight fly in the ointment.
You bring the blade down and plunge it into the princess's back. Finally. Okay. There's no going back now. Though the blade left a deep gash in her shoulder, she barely so much as flinches, turning around to stare at you incredulously.
Are you serious? I don't know what came over you, but if we're doing this, I guess I'll have to kill you. Do you think I need both of my arms to do that? I can beat you to death with one. But I don't have to tell you that. I'll go ahead and show you.
Give up.
As the blade falls from your trembling hands, the princess rears back, readying a bone-shattering haymaker. You fall to your knees, barely able to process the ringing in your ears before she hits you again. Every blow is as punishing as the first. You feel bones shatter with every impact, unknown ruptures blossoming with blood somewhere inside of you. If we're lucky, the wound you manage to inflict will be enough to at least delay her escape from this place. If we're very lucky, it will kill her before she gets out.
Oh, too weak to even try fighting back. How disappointing.
She places a confident heel on your chest and pushes you down to the ground. Her knee falls to your throat, your windpipe crushed beneath a weight you didn't think her slight form could possibly possess. It can't just end like this, right? I'm sorry, but it's over. Everything goes dark, and you die.
Now I'm hoping we get a Chapter 2 The Prisoner, but things played out a bit differently at the end there. Chapter 2 The Tower. Was it the tower or the prisoner?
You're on a path
Sure.
in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess.
Because if it was different, then I don't know how we'd go back and get the
You're
same one
here
again. It
to
feels like it'd be
slay her.
locked off.
If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
But I died. What am I doing here?
I can assure you that you're not dead. And to answer your second question, you're here to slay the princess. I literally told you that a second ago.
If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way.
You know I can hear you, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me.
What does it matter what he knows?
We haven't
There's
seen the
nothing
voice
we can
broken
do to
before.
stop her. She's just going to kill us again.
I think originally it was the skeptic.
She is not going to kill you unless you let her. But slaying the princess and saving the world is going to be much more difficult than it has to be if you spend the whole time second-guessing yourself.
Yeah, we asked that before. Let's just proceed to the cabin.
A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
We might as well just pledge ourselves to her and stop pretending we're capable of doing anything in this situation. She probably doesn't even need to try to overpower us.
Can we tone down the pessimism just a smidge?
I'm not being a pessimist. I'm just being realistic.
You're being annoying. Just ignore their bickering, and whatever you do, don't pledge yourself to her. I cannot stress enough how absolutely catastrophic that would be for everyone, yourself included. I agree. If she's wrongfully imprisoned, then we should rescue her, but if he's telling the truth, we shouldn't just hand her the world on a silver platter. Rescue her? Given the stakes of the situation, there isn't really a difference between rescuing her and pledging yourself to her. Either would be terrible. So please try to ignore both of those knuckleheads and focus on saving the world. Let's not make this harder than it has to be.
Okay, let's go
If
in.
that's what you want, I guess I don't have a say here.
The interior of the cabin is larger and more grandiose than its humble exterior would suggest. The only furniture of note is a massive marble altar with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. Why do we feel so small?
We don't feel small. We are small.
Approach the mirror.
You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here. What are you talking about? This isn't a wall. It's a mirror. Or at least it'll be a mirror once we wipe off that layer of grime. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now.
We should count ourselves lucky. Some things are better left unseen.
Obviously, it did the same thing before when we had a mirror in the house. I just thought got to try these things, haven't you? Do we take the blade? Do we not take the blade? Let's take the blade.
You take the blade from the altar. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a spiral staircase. Its steps almost as deep as you are tall. The smell of incense drifts up from below. For a moment, you almost feel at ease.
This is actually kind of nice.
It's still a stone basement. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her booming voice rolls up the
Booming
stairs.
Is that a guest I hear? Don't linger on the stairs. Come down and witness me.
Ooh, that's different.
You weren't kidding when you said it was booming. She wasn't like this last time.
We need to get down there. She wants us to see her. We need to see her. Should we be worried about your sudden change in attitude? Just a few minutes ago you were going on about how pointless everything was. Now you want to go down there. It doesn't matter what that little voice says. He's not the one making the decisions. Though if his ramblings get you to the princess, they get you to the princess.
Yep.
Making your way down the spiral staircase is a time-consuming and exhausting effort, every step requiring you to clamber over one edge before dropping to the next. But soon the end comes into view, and you tumble to the bottom, entering the vast, temple-like room beyond. The princess towers over you, almost glowing in the weak starlight, her figure framed by a stained glass window. Her long hair billows around her, and a chain binds her wrist to the far wall. The chain is nothing to her. It might as well be a toy for all the good it would do. I told you it was pointless to resist her.
The little bird has returned to me. I wonder what he wants. You brought that knife again, even though you know it's useless. Such charming audacity. Drop it.
Drop
The
it.
blade slips from your fingers and clatters uselessly to the floor. We didn't have to do that.
No, but we chose to.
And yet you did. She's so much more than us. You wouldn't understand what it feels like to be in her presence. Oh, I understand what's going on, and you'd better snap yourself out of it.
Kneel.
Kneel.
On her command, you fall to the floor, knees painfully connecting with hard stone.
That's my good little bird. Now, why don't we talk? The last time we met, you tried to kill me. And here you are again, trying to succeed where you've already catastrophically failed. What draws you back here beyond the empty halls of death? Speak.
The last time we met? I suppose that lends credence to our conversation in the woods. Still, whatever you do, don't tell her why you're here. It's best not to give her any ideas.
You're supposed to end the world.
You weak-willed buffoon.
Is that so?
The princess closes her eyes in contemplation.
Something about that thought wraps itself around my heart. It feels like a fundamental truth to my being that I'd somehow forgotten. The collapse of the old is a necessary prelude to the birth of the new, and the world as it is now is overdue for alterations. It's time for me to seize my destiny, and you, little bird, will help me seize it.
She's inevitable. There's nothing else for us to do but help her. Maybe she'll be nice to us.
Okay, these are new options, so let's work our way through them. What would you have me do? What do you have planned?
All you have to do is break these chains and set me free.
You're so powerful, can't you just break the chains yourself?
Don't be rude. Of course she can. It's not rude to question someone who's apparently trying to end the world. That's exactly why it's rude. We should know our place.
I can, easily, but that isn't what I want to do. The story of a terrible and bountiful god unbounded of her own will is no story at all. It's not worthy of everything I am, or everything I'm bound to become. It isn't even worthy of what I was. The destruction in Genesis that's to follow in my wake is deserving of a song that can echo for eternity. The song of you, being so struck by my glory, so overwhelmed by what I am, that you feel you must deliver me into the world. And from your act of utter devotion and submission springs a new dawn, a better dawn. Submit now, submit later. It makes no difference. Because in the end, no matter how vainly you struggle against me, my will triumphs over yours.
Just because you're supposed to end the world doesn't mean you actually have to do it. You can be whatever you want to be.
This isn't about desire. This is about what I am. And I have little interest in discussing destiny with one that cannot see the divine truth that shines in my heart.
What happened to you after I died?
Know the limits of your privilege, little bird. There's an empty place at my side for you to fill, if you'll have it. But it is not a place for an equal. It is a place for something worthy to be kept. A priest, perhaps, or a pet.
Let's pledge ourselves to it. I'm yours to command.
Your will was so easily broken. Am I that magnificent? All you need to do now is break my chains.
If this is what you want, then I guess there's not much else for me to say. No, you can't just give in to her. Not when the stakes are so high. Not when you're so close. I won't let you do this.
There's still something in the way. A greasy film inside of you where it doesn't belong, trying to conceal you from me. Is that a person? No, it used to be a person. It's something different now. An echo.
Is she talking about you? That's impossible. She's not supposed to be able to interact with me.
You're a small one, aren't you? A shriveling little worm stretched beyond its limits, trying to control things that it can't understand.
No. What are you talking about?
I don't care what you are. You're mine.
Ah!
Rise, my little bird.
Without hesitation, you're brought to your feet.
Oh, she's our narrator now.
Break my chains.
And how are we supposed to do that? All we have is a blade. All you need to do is believe it's been done.
Break her chains.
Her chains shatter, and the cuff falls from her wrist. She is loose, and the end is upon us.
What a good disciple you are. Come, it's time for us to leave.
What happens now?
Nothing. And then, everything.
Take her hand. But you do not take her hand, nor will you ever. It's time to leave. Memory returns.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now?
It's gonna be okay, just trust me. We've been here before and you always get scared.
But it feels so bad. Like looking into it right now is going to be the end of everything. I don't want to look at us.
I'll see you on the other side. It's gonna be okay.
Okay. If you say so. I'll trust you. Your mercy.
You approach the mirror. Gaze into your reflection. Silence as you reach forward. They're gone once again. The mirror always makes them leave, but you need to see what's in it. You've grown. Have we? How is that apparent? Interesting. You find yourself in the long quiet once again. Proceed to the cabin. You are at the cabin. Approach her.
Flickering lights in empty cityscapes become pockets of vitality and movement. I am more than I was before. Whenever you are ready, I will wipe your slate clean once again.
Are you the same being you were before? How much have you changed?
Is a child the same as an infant? I am an unbroken pattern, but every vessel gives fresh perspectives and carves new avenues of expression. I am different, but I am the same.
What does it feel like to change like this?
Eyes close in reflection. Perspectives meld together and the breadth of my experience stretches to new corners. There are contradictions, conflicts in my nature, and there are familiarities that bind everything together. It feels correct. This is what I need to be. This is the only path forward.
When this is all done, do you know what you want to do?
With every gift you bring me, I excavate the alleys of what I am meant to be, and every exploration yields new and complicated truths. What I will be is different than what I am, and what I am is different from what I was. I cannot tell you what desires I will hold when I have changed. But in this moment, all I want is to know myself and to know you.
You know that at the end of this, once you're finished, I'm going to kill you, right?
There is still much to be seen. Neither of us know the depths of our being. Perhaps at the end of this, I will be the one to kill you. Or perhaps we will leave this place together and find new horizons to discover.
When I go back, it's as if an invisible wall closes around me. Why can I not do the same things I've done before?
Those paths lead to worlds you've already seen, and to perspectives I have already made my own. They are useless to us now, inaccessible. The only
Okay, well,
paths
that's good
of
anyway.
value are those that are yet untread.
That's why that option was greyed out, I guess, but I feel like I didn't... Unless it led to that tower, I'd have to go back and rewatch my first episode, I think. Maybe it did. Maybe it did. Certainly the end of that first chapter played out different. Do you have any thoughts on this vessel?
This one is dominance, a figure capable of bending everything to her will. She will make for a terrifying and divine heart. Do not mourn her, for she would not be able to mourn you.
I don't want to hurt you, but the more times I go back, the worse I fear things will be.
The vessels are a weave of emotion at odds with themselves, but they are only perspectives. They are not me. The wounds they've suffered carve texture around my heart. Without them, I would be as I was before. I would be alone and without sensation. I could not feel the joy of having you by my side, for I would not know your absence.
How many more vessels do I need to bring you?
If I am to be an ocean, you have given me enough to build a pond. My waters are shallow and murky, and I yearn for more perspective. The task of finding my vessels is your burden to carry.
I'm ready to go back.
I await your return, but it will give me time to reflect on what I am. We will meet again.
Everything goes dark, and you die. Chapter 1, The Hero and the Princess.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
I'm just checking through to see if there's any different options. Let's go with... Oh, okay, thanks for telling me what to do.
Don't mention it. It's all part of the job. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. The interior of the cabin is almost in the blade is your implement.
I'll skip past the dialogue if it's exactly the same. This time I'm just gonna enter the basement. Let's do it that way.
The door to the basement, her voice.
Hello? Is someone there?
So she's nervous this time. We've had that before, but not the first time we played. She was more confident, so that's different.
It's hypnotizing. It's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember it for the rest of your life.
Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. You're playing a
Maybe that's
dangerous
influenced
game
by not taking the
coming
knife?
here unarmed.
Let's just continue down the
Good.
stairs.
You're still listening to reason. It would be better if you had a weapon, but you may still be able to do what needs to be done. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to anyone?
I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot riding on you here.
Hi. Do you think you can get me out of these chains?
We've talked to her before, so let's just get on with it. Let's examine the chains.
You're only making this more difficult.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're making a huge mistake.
No, you're doing the right thing.
You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
I'm guessing you don't have the key?
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs.
Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabinet.
Do you have any other ideas?
Maybe there's some way to break the chains? Or if that doesn't work, I guess we can always cut me out of them.
She offers the suggestion with almost complete nonchalance.
If we were stuck down here long enough, I'm sure we'd be nonchalant about cutting our way out if it meant we could finally be free.
You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock sliding into place.
Is someone else here?
Okay, we'll just return.
You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd just taken the blade like you were supposed to.
So I think originally when we had this outcome, we ended up fighting and killing her, so let's do that differently this time.
Easier for whom? Easier for everyone. Look at the mess you're in.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they?
There's a slight panic rising in the princess's voice.
If I could just get out of these chains, I know we could force our way out of here together.
She barely hesitates before raising her arm to her mouth, her teeth tearing through her limb with the determination of a trapped wolf. As she rips her flesh from her bone, a sound comes from behind you, the clang of bouncing metal. It's the blade from upstairs. You're not sure how it made its way down here, but if there's a time to strike, it's now.
Or we could use it to free her.
You won't like what happens if you do that.
So we went with slay before, so let's go with save this time.
Fine. Against your better judgment, you place the blade against the ragged, self-inflicted wound on the princess's arm, just above the unyielding chain binding her to this place. You cut into her flesh.
The blade is sharp, and it takes little effort to crack through the bone of her arm.
Her limb falls to the ground, and the heavy chains follow suit.
She didn't so much as utter a sound through the whole ordeal.
No, she didn't.
She smiles softly as her gaze meets yours, blood from her wounded arm dripping rhythmically to the ground. How is she still smiling after everything? It's like she isn't even bothered by what just happened.
Thank you. Now let's get out of here.
No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are too high. You can't just let her escape into the world. No, I can't just let her escape into the world. As the princess approaches the bottom stair, your body steps forward and raises the blade.
Wait, this isn't fair. You can't just do that.
Watch me.
What are you doing?
Okay, slay the princess is grayed out this time. Warn her is back, so let's do warn her.
Stop that.
Something's come over you, hasn't it? You know you don't have to do this, right?
Your body lunges forward, the blade held low, ready to sink into her heart. But the princess dodges, stumbling back against the wall before the blade has a chance to connect. Stop it! Stop trying to resist me. I'm trying to get you out of here alive.
Resist
The
is
blade!
back.
Move the blade! As your body remains frozen in stubborn resistance, the princess takes a cautious step forward.
We both know this isn't you.
She nervously reaches towards you and takes the blade from your infuriatingly rigid hands. What are you doing?
I'm sorry. I'll try to be quick.
She plunges it into your chest, tearing through flesh and sinew. It is agony. But you aren't dead yet.
Oh no! I'm so sorry.
Stay strong. We can tough it out until it's done. For her sake. For her sake? Don't you start pretending that dying a painful death is some sort of heroic gesture. The two of you have literally doomed everyone. Whatever. She sinks the blade into your chest again and again and again, and you feel every inch of burning pain that slices its way into your body.
I'm sorry.
She doesn't know how to use a knife, does she? Apparently not, though it doesn't matter how sloppy her knife work is, does it? A stab wound is still a stab wound, and it won't be long before you bleed out.
I'm so sorry.
With one last thrust of the knife, your legs give out beneath you. You collapse to the floor, your blood pooling around you, your limbs unresponsive. The princess stares down at your ruined chest as tears carve rivulets of pink down her blood-spattered cheeks. It can't just end like this, right? Oh, that's rich coming from you. As much as I'd prefer for things to have gone differently, I can't deny the reality of what's happened. The two of you made your choice. It's over. Everything goes dark. And you die.
Chapter 2, The Damsel.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Oh, you bastard. You're in for it now. I'm wise to your tricks.
My tricks? What on earth are you talking about? We just met for the first time. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. Yes, he didn't approve of us last time, did he?
Dismissing
If
us,
we're going
you.
to save our beloved, we'll have to be sneaky about it. Our beloved? Yes, you'll have to be very sneaky about your intentions if you're going to try and save the princess. Ah, so all of the cards are on the table. Then you should know that we and the princess are in love, and the four of us will be foiling any and all assassination attempts you've got in the works. We'll see about that. Whatever you do, just be sure to ignore him specifically. Sounds like he's the sort who'd sacrifice the whole world for a peck on the cheek. What can I say? A world without love is a world that isn't worth saving.
So this case, let's proceed to the cabin.
A warning before you go any further. She will lie. We already told you we're not playing along with your little game. It's your lies that can't be trusted. Her beauty is the only thing in the world we can believe in. I think we've already been over this. I'm pretty sure he just likes the sound of his own voice. I do, but I also speak from the heart. My passions are too great to be stifled. They must be expressed. Sure, yeah, your passions are strong and all, but not everyone needs to hear them. Some things are better kept quiet. Don't pay their bickering any mind. Focus on the task ahead. The interior of the cabin is
This is
clean
new.
and elegant, its stone walls draped in fine threaded tapestries. a prison befitting a royal prisoner. The only furniture of note is an ornate wooden table with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
So I assume the mirror is going to disappear again.
That's because there isn't a mirror. There's a table, the blade sitting on the table, and the door to the basement. There's nothing else in here. There's definitely a mirror. There isn't. I'm sure the princess would tell us there was a mirror if she were up here. In which case she'd be lying to you because, again, there isn't a mirror.
I want to look at myself. I want to see how handsome I am.
That's a great idea. We have to make sure we're looking our best before we save her.
We shouldn't waste time preening. If he is lying about the mirror, it might be important. I'm not lying to you. Use your eyes. There is no mirror. Why would I lie about something so meaningless? What good would it even do?
We'll do it again. I'm sure it'll have the same
wall next
result.
to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here.
Sometimes it might be different.
This really isn't funny. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. But it was there a second ago.
And now it's gone. Pity. We could have a feather out of place, and now we'll never know. We can't gallantly sweep her off her feet if we have a feather out of place.
I wonder if we'll ever get like a proper look at ourselves. Now, do we take the blade? Do we not take the blade? Let's not take the blade.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing an intricate stairwell. Gold-trimmed carpet glimmers in the light of the torches positioned along the walls. The basement almost seems welcoming in the dim firelight, but it's still a stone basement. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. A soft voice carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
Her voice. It's somehow even more beautiful than last time. I can hear wedding bells already. I've held my tongue till now, but you're taking this a little too far. We barely even know the princess. We can still do right by her without all this over-the-top fawning.
Yes, for everyone's sake, you're not in love. Just remember that her charms are all part of the manipulation. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall.
My love, we're here to rescue you from your unjust and foul imprisonment.
You know she can't hear you, right?
She may not be able to hear my words, but surely she can hear my spirit.
Oh, your spirit's plenty loud, all right.
It's you, my dashing hero. I was so worried you wouldn't come back.
Did you hear that? She said we're dashing.
And she called us a hero. Flattery really goes a long way with the two of you, doesn't it? Waiting for you to come back. I didn't want to believe your ravings back in the woods, but this is next to incontrovertible evidence. You've been here before.
That's right, villain, and you killed us.
Well, she killed us.
Only because he made us try and kill her. It was self-defense. Our beloved's hands remain unstained by cruelty.
And you've died before. So an entire world has been damned to oblivion. I'd really hoped I'd be the first, but what's done is done. What matters is you have a chance to do it right this time. We damned a whole world. But everything reset. Nothing resets. You're just somewhere else. You can't keep hopping between worlds forever. Especially not without leaving a trail of incomprehensible devastation behind you. This is horrible.
So in the comments to the first video, we were having a bit of a discussion about whether things reset or if it was like a multiverse type thing, and that does kind of suggest that it's the latter.
Horrible for you, maybe, but we've been given another opportunity to sweep her off her feet and treat her like the lady she is. Now, hold on. If she actually ended a world, are you sure we want to do this? Are you sure we want to rescue her? We never saw a world end, and now I'm even more certain that we must chase our heroic and romantic destiny than I've ever been. I shan't let anyone convince us otherwise.
Are you listening to him? He's lost it. Don't let him distract you. Just do your job.
Okay, so let's talk through these options as they're different. You killed me last time and it hurt a lot. Why did you do that?
I'm sorry. Didn't you want me to?
Did we?
We warned her of the cruel forces seizing our body. That's practically telling her to kill us. She is our beloved, and she made the choice to free us of our misery, to show us mercy and make the best decision for everyone.
She made the best decision for her. Don't be so quick to assign kindness. You're just opening yourself up to manipulation.
Didn't bring a knife. Do I have to cut you out again?
I'm okay with whatever you come up with. You can cut my arm off again.
Yay.
We won't be laying a finger on her perfect wrists, and indeed, we won't even have to. Do you see how dainty her hands are? We'll be able to slip her right out with no harm done.
What? No, she's a prisoner here. You can't just slip her hand through the chains. Why are you two arguing over the logistics of slipping her hand out of her shackles? She just said she'd be okay with any idea we came up with. Am I the only one here who thinks that's weird?
She didn't care last time. Why should she care this time? That's our stoic, smiling angel.
No, you're right. It's extremely bizarre behaviour and further evidence that she's a monster who's not to be trusted. So go ahead and slay her.
What happened after I died?
You died, and now we're talking.
Oh. But before we started talking, did the world end? Did you end the world?
I don't know. Was I supposed to have ended the world? Would that have made you happy?
Isn't that just like our darling princess? She wants to make us happy. My heart melts further with every word that passes through her beautiful lips.
Are you listening to her? That's a confession.
No, I don't want the world to end.
Then I didn't end the world.
Huzzah!
See? She didn't confess anything. She is innocence itself.
I'm not so sure.
I'm sorry about what happened last time. The narrator who sent me here to kill you took over my body. It was extremely unfair.
If another version of me was pushed to such drastic action, it was for good reason.
That's okay. You were just doing your best, and that's all that matters.
She took that in stride. To a surprising extent. An almost unsettling extent, actually.
That's because she's perfect.
Do you think she has someone like him telling her what to do? She doesn't. There's no one else like me.
I think he's right, because I like it better if she doesn't have some horrid little voice like him, always trying to drive her to violence.
Rescue the princess.
No, I can't let you do that. If you take another step towards the princess, I would if you had a weapon.
Oh, sorry. You'll what? Take over our body and force us to try and kill her? Okay, so let's return. I would if you had a weapon.
Not on my watch, villain. My passions contain titanic depths, and if you try anything that might harm our dearest, I will end our life without a second thought.
You wouldn't.
I would.
I'd listen to him if I were you. He has a lot of strong feelings. And doesn't the world end if we don't stop her? You approach the princess and gingerly slide her hand from her bindings. That shouldn't have worked. I'll be damned. We're doomed. I can't believe it. But I guess I have to.
I told you, there's no life more worth living than that of a true believer.
I'm free, and you're not trying to kill me this time. Thank you. Thank you so much.
The princess jumps up and smothers you in a joyful embrace. Ugh. If only you had a weapon, one slip of the wrist and your pristine blade would be buried in her back and everyone out there would be saved. Luckily for Mr. Romance, we don't have a weapon.
Who needs a weapon when we have the power of love on our side?
What do we do now?
What do you want to do?
Let me guess. End the world? Spoken with the rank cynicism of someone who has never felt love in his heart.
I don't actually know. Nobody's ever asked me what I wanted before.
She doesn't even know what she wants. You may have had her all wrong. What if this whole thing is just a misunderstanding? What if she doesn't want to end the world? You're so gullible. Is the only thing you've ever doubted the actual truth?
I think I want to leave. And I think...
The princess closes her eyes in deep reflection, and then she shrugs.
I don't know. What do you want to do?
I want you to tell me what you want.
I just want to make you happy.
She can't just want to make us happy.
It makes sense to me. That's all I want for her, so of course she'd
Music
want the
took a
same
turn,
for
man.
us.
But what would make you happy?
I just want to make you happy.
Her eyes are getting bigger.
Is she broken? What's going on? What's going on is she's lying to you, only she isn't a good liar. Are you starting to trust me now?
Oh, we might be able to break her in that. I want you to make me unhappy.
Okay, if that's what makes you happy, I can make you unhappy.
This isn't right. I don't know what's going on, but this isn't right.
I fail to see the problem here. She's just sweet on us. You don't have to act like it's a big deal.
You need to do your own thing. You just met me. You can't base your entire happiness around me.
Okay, if that's what makes you happy.
This is
it
definitely
just me, or
descending.
Does it feel like we're alone right now? Like we're the only ones here?
Oh. You don't get the chance to ask another question, nor will you ever. It's time for you to leave. Memory returns.
No! She was our perfect match. She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? Is that a mirror? Why is it here? Why now?
Of course you're scared. This is the end for you, but it's not the end for me.
What is that supposed to mean? Whatever awful thing I felt before, it feels so much worse now.
Do it then. End us all before I die of a broken heart.
Approach the mirror. You approach the mirror. Silence as you reach forward. They're gone once again. The mirror always makes them leave, but you need to see what's in it. You've withered. Interesting. You find yourself in the long quiet once again. You're at the cabin.
I am a growing chorus of contradiction, a mass of tides ebbing and flowing all at once in more directions than my attention can bear to hold. To look at any one is to shift them all into something new, and to look away is to reshape them yet again. All of me is changing, and yet the rest of me is still the same.
You can't be a contradiction. Contradictions don't exist.
And yet my waters flow and my streets bustle. There are no words that can describe me into non-existence. There is no logic that can bind my multitudes. I am everything that you have known me to be, but I am also none of it.
How can you stand to be a contradiction?
As easily as you can stand to be you. You are like me, even if you have chosen not to look at the corners of you.
Doesn't matter how many times I go back, at least one of us always hurts the other. Doesn't that change you? Doesn't that make you worse?
It changes me, but it doesn't make me worse, nor does it make me care for you any less. Does it make you worse? Do you resent me?
I have no opinion one way or the other on the matter.
How strange of you to ask me then.
Fair. What do you think of this vessel?
This one is soft and delicate. You molded her to love you, and she'll make for a gentle heart. Do not mourn her. She has served her purpose.
Do you know what happens to the worlds we leave behind?
My perspectives are shadowed. You have seen what I have seen, just as I have seen what you have seen. The angles of my vantage do not offer me hidden truths, and my attention is turned inward, except when you are here with me. Perhaps this will change when our work is done.
Have you figured out what you'll want when we're finished?
The desires of my multitude thrive in endless competition with themselves, but none of them rise above their dance to influence me. I yearn for what I have always yearned for, our awakening. Other desires shrink in the light of knowing you and knowing me.
I don't want to go back anymore, I just want to stay here, forever if I have to.
If you need time, then I will wait with you.
So we've done this one before. What happens if we destroy our body? You raise your will to end your life, but as it buries into the space your body should be, you feel nothing at all. One of the many hands in front of you reaches forward and gently touches the side of your face.
There's nowhere for you to be but here.
What about if we attack her? Your will cuts across the entity in front of you, but nothing
My
happens.
roots burrow in an ocean beyond your sight. We cannot harm each other as we are now.
Okay, well I guess we'll go back then.
I will be here when it is time for us to meet again.
Everything goes dark, and you die. Chapter 1, The Hero and the Princess.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess.
Right, so I think we'll leave it there for now. We will continue to play through. There'll be more episodes. But yeah, interesting. I think we've got a slight more of a glimpse behind the curtain as to what's going on. So it's not a reset. It does appear that we're jumping between multiple worlds or realities in some way. Still don't know the exact nature of our being or the nature of the being that is kind of impelling us to do this. So again, leave me a comment. I'm interested to hear any thoughts and theories as to what is sort of going on in a greater sense in the game. Because I don't really have a clear idea. I'm just along for the ride. But yeah, some interesting ones there. I think two very different princesses that we encountered here. The dominant one and the deconstructed damsel, as it was called in the achievement that popped up. I don't know if you see those in the footage. But yeah, so I think in terms of plans moving forward, I think we'll... There's the ones we've already seen, but taking a different route in the second chapter. Like, some we've taken the knife, others we haven't. So yeah, so the chapter ones may be sort of quite familiar. I'm not sure whether to sort of skip those and only come back for the chapter twos, or whether, you know, you as viewers, you think there's value in sort of continuing to see the chapter ones, which are going to play out pretty similar, I think, compared to the versions that we've already seen. But, you know, again, let me know in the comments if you'd like me just to sort of skip ahead to the beginning of a chapter 2 as opposed to a chapter 1. So, because, yeah, I'm just interested to hear your thoughts on that. And if you enjoyed this video, if you could hit the thumbs up button, that'd be fantastic. And if you're watching and haven't already subscribed to the channel, it'd be great if you could do that too. So I'll just say thanks very much once again, and I hope to see you next time for more Slay the Princess. Bye for now.